We've seen some amazing things, but that, my friends, is something we've never seen.
Brandon Cruz wants advice.
Brandon Cruz wants advice.
Brandon wants advice.
Brandon Cruz wants advice. You just locked yourself into the playoffs.
Nice.
Got it.
Talk with old Brandon Cruz wants advice.
Completely speechless, to say the least.
Man, I am honestly so baffled by that decision. Brandon Cruz wants advice. It's Brandon wants advice.
Green flag in the air. Brandon Cruz wants advice to the front.
Drivers, this is Brandon Cruz Daily Fantasy Podcast, where I go and look at low-owned plays and strategies specifically designed for GPPs. This is a show for people who are already informed of daily fantasy sports and how these contests operate. If you have any questions related to, and only to NASCAR, that you are too embarrassed to ask your usual DFS provider, or if you can't find the answer anywhere else, give me a tweet at Brandon Cruz DFS. Most importantly, take everything with a grain of salt and use your best judgment when creating entries and lineups. Additionally, if you have a gambling addiction, that's not my problem. Check your sensitive feelings at the door. Let's get into it. Ladies, gentlemen, this is episode 85. We have gone 85 episodes. Thank you guys for supporting me, watching my videos, at least listen to what I gotta babble on about. I really do appreciate it. If you go and look at the DFS Tavern Twitter page, it has been made official. The announcement is out there that I'll be providing the NASCAR content over there for the 2020 season. Anzo is going to take a bit of a step back, focus more on golf and MMA, and I'm going to step into the role of providing content for DFS Tavern next year. It's going to be the same stuff that I did over here. I'm going to focus on the Xfinity Series, I'm going to focus on the Truck Series, and I'm going to focus on the Cup Series each and every week. I'm actually, in a bit of a situation where I can actually take off of work now for the weekends, at least, Thursday through Sunday, all that type of stuff. So I only got to work a real job about 3 days of the week. And I'm going to be able to provide way more in-depth stuff. I'll actually be able to provide, I dealt with OBS a bit this year, so you could see my screen. I got a good microphone coming in. You got that good quality coming in. So this will be the last podcast I actually do with this headset that I'm talking in right now. I'm going to have a webcam coming up. I won't start those until Speed Weeks is here for Daytona and all that type of stuff. But it's gonna be real, man. It's legit, good quality production. I'm very happy and proud to jump into that role for the DFS Tavern. Those guys are great, and the whole community is great over there. I believe we still have a chance to join if you go to the or you go to the Twitter of DFS Tavern. I believe the link to join our Discord for free right now expires on the 31st. It could be incorrect, but you can go check that out if you want to check it out. Anyway, enough of the formalities and all that type of stuff. Let's get into the nitty-gritty Week 17 thoughts and opinions and all that and good stuff. Well, usually I would make a video and I would just rank, who I liked. I'd go over quarterbacks, things of that nature. This week I'm going to start a bit different. I'm going to focus on the teams and situations that I want to play. I'm recording this at 4:30 p.m. Central Time, Friday, December 27th. 2019. So if there's any more news, any injuries that come out after I record this, obviously make your best judgment and change your plans accordingly. But until then, these are my thoughts, my views, and my looks, and where I'm really going to go. I think I'm going to play one lineup. I don't think I'm going to mass enter a bunch of lineups. I might enter a lot of tournaments. Last week's one of those weeks I wish I would have just dumped $5,000 in a DFS because I would have cashed in every fucking contest. But I'm just going to enter one lineup this week. The way that I really want to build it, not sure if I can build it, but the way I want to build it is have a cheap-ish quarterback, cheap-ish wide receivers, and then just pay up for wide receivers. I only got 2 tight ends I actually care about, and then pay so-so for defense. I'm going to get into there. So starting with places to find value, situations to find value. The Ravens are going to be resting starters, possible plays. Now I understand I'm making this on a Friday. Like I said in a previous video, and there's a lot of voices out there, a lot of opinions. I'm pretty sure my voice is going to get thrown to the wayside. But possible plays from this game that I would actually kind of look at would be RG3, Gus Edwards, and the defense against Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh is just dog shit, so I don't believe that the Ravens are actually going to do anything, or I don't believe Pittsburgh is actually going to do anything with Hodges. Thank God Rudolph is on IR. And what are they going to do? Throw Paxton Lynch out there too? Like, I mean, there's no reason the Ravens, even though they're an underdog, there's no reason they should not lose this, even with if they're resting starters on defense and stuff like that. Bills, they may play it like a preseason game. They might play, a series, 2 quarters. They might rest their players. It hasn't been officially confirmed by anybody yet. So I would stay away from most of the Bills players other than Frank Gore, who's $4,000 this week. And I'll go back over all the plays that I like. I'm just telling you why I like certain guys. So the guys that let's go over. RG3, 5,100. Gus Edwards, 4,800. Ravens defense, 3,100. Frank Gore, 4,000. Vikings, they are locked into the 6th seed. Now, they played like absolute dog shit last time against the Packers, so they may end up playing this week. There's rumors out that they're actually going to sit players. They're not going to start the starters. I'm going to let that be confirmed at least Saturday before I actually make that decision. But I expect Cook to sit, but I'm not interested in any of the running backs for Minnesota because Boone is horrible. Madison is questionable, and he's just as bad as Boone. Let's see. Madison, he has his ankle is listed questionable right now. I don't have any faith in the running backs for Minnesota this week. And if they're sitting their starters, then who are you going to play? Johnson, like Treadwell, like I guess, man. That's pretty sketchy. I have no interest in any of the players from the Vikings. Now, the teams in must-win situations. The Titans must win this week. They rested Derrick Henry last game for this week, for this game, and a chance to make the playoffs. I like Tannehill, I like Henry, and I like A.J. Brown. Tannehill, $6,800. Derrick Henry, $8,100, and A.J. Brown, $7,000. Now, Steelers, I mean, they could make the playoffs. They got to win. They suck, dude. I have no interest in the Steelers at all. Raiders need a lot of stuff to go their way to make the playoffs. I'm sure you've seen all the memes of who's got to win, who's got to lose, and all that type of stuff. I'm not interested in the Raiders at all. The only people I would be interested in the Raiders, if I were to go there, which I probably will not, would be Jacobs, but he's questionable right now. Or he's actually doubtful. My bad. He has a shoulder. He still has that fractured shoulder, and he has an illness. And then Waller, I guess. I don't really know. Waller has been their best wide receiver this year, and even him, he's been kind of sketchy on and off throughout the year. This could be their last game for the season. Typically whoever's been best throughout the year, typically in a team that will not advance to the playoffs, pretty much whoever's the guy who's allowed by the team is going to get the catches. That would probably be Waller. But like I said, I have really no interest in the Raiders at all. Eagles, let's see, they need to win and have Dallas lose, or have Dallas lose, either way. I kind of just wrote this stuff down. I'm sure you can go check it out. Anyway, Wentz, $6,100 I'm interested in. Sanders, he's been putting up monster games recently. He's $6,800. And Eagles defense, $3,500. And Dallas, or Goddard, I can't even pronounce his name. Let me bring up him right fast. Let's see. Why am I liking Goddard? I know it's chalk week for Goddard. I'm not concerned about that. Wentz is a bit too expensive for me. Sanders, I don't really believe that he's going to do that again. I understand he's had 2 monster weeks in a row, 3 if you count the past month. But I honestly, if I was going to go anywhere, it'd be Goddard. And the reason I'm doing that is because they have no wide receivers at all. I mean, Jeffrey's on IR. Aguilar's going to be out. Whiteside can't catch a ball to save his life. Who are they going to throw to? Greg Ward and Davis? They were running 2 tight end sets, even without these guys. And Zach Ertz was on the field the vast majority of the time. He was getting these last 3 weeks. Ertz was getting 13, 10, and 6 targets. Goddard was getting. Goddard has 6, 6, and 12 targets these last 3 weeks. 7 if you count Week 13 in Miami. There's no reason Goddard doesn't see another 12 targets, and there's no reason he doesn't go for another 25 DraftKings points. I'm not concerned about chalk this week. I don't really care about that. I can pivot other places. Tight end, there's only 2 good plays, and it's both in this game. You got Goddard and Smith from the Giants. I actually might choose Goddard more. He might be the only tight end I actually have any interest in at all. And I do not care what his ownership is at all. Cowboys. should beat Washington. They are playing all out. Prescott, Elliott, Cooper, Gallup, and the defense for the Cowboys are all in play. I would actually believe that it's going to be a Ezekiel Elliott game. While I do have interest in Prescott and Cooper, Elliott's the only guy I would pay attention to. I mean, you could stack Dallas, but I honestly believe they're going to get ahead of the Redskins so bad. Dak does not need to throw at all, and it's just going to be the Ezekiel Elliott game. And if you look back at what Barkley did last week against Washington, went for 189 yards on the ground, 90 yards in the air, 46 DraftKings points. I expect to see that from Ezekiel Elliott. Let me get a drink right fast. Apologize for that. All right, now. The games with a playoff seeding at stake, obviously, or a playoff seeding at stake. The Sunday night game between the 49ers and Seahawks, Sally, that's not on the slate. And then you got the Packers, Patriots, Chiefs. They will play it all out because all these guys are playing for a first-round bye. I believe if the Patriots lose against Miami, they lose their first-round bye for the first time in 10 years. Chiefs would fall. I mean, none of that's important. I just know they're playing all out. That's my only notes right now. Now the running backs in stat plays. Christian McCaffrey, he needs 67 receiving yards to join the 1,000 club. Mixon needs 25 yards to go to 1,000 for the year. Lindsey needs 42, and Barkley needs 89 to go for 1,000 for the year. Wide receivers that are going for stats. Boyd, DJ Chark, Williams, OBJ, AJ Brown, and McLaurin. I believe they're under 100 yards for 1,000 on the year. Austin Eckler and George Kittle also fall under that. They are all under 100 receiving yards to top 1,000. And then some players have bonus incentives that they might be playing about. DFS Tavern on their show on Thursday, they mentioned that. That could either be good or bad. Some teams want to reward players. Other teams just don't want to pay them and really brace the... Never mind. They don't want to pay them. So, and typically these incentives are more for defensive players related to sacks, interceptions, tackles, but there are some for the offensive lines or the offensive teams. Now, this is my player interest, and I'm going to tell you my list of players that I have interest in, and then I'm going to tell you my actual player pool. So, player interest, quarterbacks, RG3 at 5,100. Tannehill, 6,800. He's the fifth most expensive quarterback. Carson Wentz, 6,100. Dak Prescott, 6,300. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 5,800. Andy Dalton, 5,900. Phillip Rivers, 5,400. And Case Keenum, 4,500. Now I'm going to go do the same thing with running backs, and I'm going to tell you the actual player pool I have. But if I was going to enter a lot of lineups, say like 20 or 30 like I do at the start of the year, these would all be in my player pool. But running backs, McCaffrey, Barkley, Henry, Elliott, Mixon, Freeman, Lindsey, Bell, Gus Edwards, Adrian Peterson, and Tyreek Cohen are my running backs. My wide receivers that I have interest in fitting in the lineups, and my wide receivers are more lenient. I usually try and fit whoever just works in my salary. But Thomas, Adams, Hill, Robinson, Parker, Boyd, Perriman, Cooper, Diggs, McLaurin, Chark, OBJ, Larry Fitzgerald, and Russell Gage, although I do believe that Stephon Diggs will not play, so I can cross him out. Tight ends, Higbee is a trap. Do not believe in Higbee. I'd rather go with Goddard, fuck Higbee. I am not going Los Angeles. See, Higbee could still burn through the Cardinals. I understand that. I think it's a trap. I think Higbee's going to be damn near like 25-30% owned. I will happily jump off that ownership and go to Goddard. Or Smith, but I think Goddard's the better play. And then defenses, I will probably choose Saturday night because I want to know for sure who's starting and sitting. I do have interest in the Jets right now. I have interest in Green Bay. I have interest in Chicago. I have interest in New England. I have interest in Baltimore. I am interested in Philadelphia. And I believe those are the only defenses that I have interest in. Now, my actual player pool, the guys that I am considering to put in my one and only lineup, yet again, I might actually change that. Might play more lineups, but the guys that I'm actually trying to fit in lineups would be starting with Ryan Tannehill. I understand he's the 5th most expensive quarterback, but Tennessee is in a must-win situation. Tannehill has been killing it DFS-wise. He's been over 20 the past 3 weeks. Been over 20, let's see, last 3 games, 31 against Oakland, 25 against Houston, 23 against New Orleans. He's 6,800, a bit too expensive for me. He's the 5th highest expensive quarterback. But if I was going to pay up, I'd probably go to Ryan Tannehill. Not Aaron Rodgers, not Deshaun Watson, not Drew Brees, not Mahomes. It'd probably be Tannehill. Now, Prescott is a bit cheaper. But like I said, I believe it'll be a Zeke Elliott game. I just can't find myself playing Prescott. Ryan Fitzpatrick is a guy, Ryan and Andy, Case Keenum as well because he's so cheap. But my 2 main guys that I'm trying to decide between is Ryan Fitzpatrick and Andy Dalton. Separated by 100 points. One is 5,900, one is 5,800. Why am I doing this? Well, Andy Dalton, since he's come back, and Andy was good for fantasy throughout the year. I mean, obviously you had to play him in certain situations, whether it started with Seattle, San Francisco, or when he came back, against Miami last week, against the Rams in Jacksonville. He's had some duds, no lie. He's had some stinkers, but Cleveland is horrible. Andy Dalton has had a horrible year. I mean, he was benched. He's been embarrassed. He is mad. I mean, he is pissed. And they might actually be down again against Cleveland. We'll have to see how it is. This game can either go one of 2 ways. Mixon is just running through the Browns, and Andy Dalton is not throwing at all, or the Browns are stopping Mixon, and Andy is just chucking it down the field to Tyler Boyd and John Ross. Last week, I stacked Andy Dalton and Tyler Boyd, and it turned out fantastic. Or maybe I didn't play Andy Dalton. I forgot who I played as quarterback, but I had Tyler Boyd, and Tyler should be like $7,500 because these are the types of games that I expected him to have. I don't see why Tyler Boyd is not a guaranteed 20 points with a touchdown. That means at least Andy Dalton gets 1 touchdown. I really like Andy Dalton. The other guy that I really like, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Now it's against New England. I understand that. Tough situation, but that's where these low-owned plays go, and Ryan Fitzpatrick has a bigger chance to put up a bigger game than Andy Dalton, mainly because New England will stomp the shit out of the Dolphins, and they're going to be down, and Fitzpatrick, love this man. I mean, he plays to win. Have you seen him take some of these hits he's taking? I mean, he's running, he's trying to get, look at these last attempts. I'm not saying he's got a lot of rushing upside, but the last last 5 games, 5 attempts, 3 attempts, 7 attempts, 4 attempts, 5 attempts. 2 games with over 40 yards rushing. I mean, Fitzpatrick has nothing to lose. He's chucking the ball. I mean, he's throwing the ball damn near 40 times in every game. I don't think you really need to stack Ryan. I mean, you could with Parker. Parker's a bit expensive, though. Maybe go with Wilson. But I like Fitzpatrick by himself this week. I mean, he's putting up monster numbers. And he's either going to put up 4 points against New England or 40. And I will happily hop on the 40 bandwagon because I don't believe anyone will play him at all. To running backs, I gave you a list about 10 guys that I like, but the guys that I actually like is Henry, Mixon, Devontae Freeman, and Gus Edwards right now. I need to try and figure out a way to stack or to put Ezekiel Elliott in that as well, but he's super expensive. I'd much rather go to Derrick Henry. Like I said, Henry has been rested. He's ready for this game, and Henry's going to have a monster game against Houston. I really believe that. I really believe Henry goes for another 35 point on DraftKings. Ezekiel Elliott has already been said. Mixon, like I said, he could easily run through the Browns. He's a few yards off of 1,000 for the year. Now Devontae Freeman, why am I so high on him? Well, let's go and look at Atlanta. Let's go look at the Tampa Bay Atlanta game. Now, let me click. Julio Jones is most likely going to play. Yes, he will play, but let's see. He was limited on Thursday, practiced fully on Sunday, but the only guys that Matt Ryan have been throwing to has been Julio Jones and Devontae Freeman. You wouldn't expect that, but last week Freeman played the role of a wide receiver. I think that's going to be. I think that's the way the Atlanta Falcons beat Tampa Bay this week. They're going to need Freeman to play the exact same way. He had 13 rushing attempts last week, 1 touchdown, 53 yards, but he was targeted 10 times, caught 9, ended up doing a 33.7 DraftKings scoring day. Normally I don't follow big performances like that, but if you look at Russell Gage, I mean, he was targeted 6 times, didn't do jack all with that. Hardy, not even on the field really. Hooper has not been the same since he came back. I mean, granted, he's put up 11 and 15 points these last while, but he has not been the same since he came back from the injury. And I like Freeman. I think a lot of people are going to hop on Julio Jones, even if he's injured. I'm probably gonna fade Julio Jones, go to Michael Thomas, go Devontae Adams, go Tyreek Hill somewhere else. I'm not gonna go Jones. So if I attack Atlanta, or if I attack that game in DFS, it's gonna be with Freeman in a running back position. And he's cheap too. He's $6,500. You can do a lot with that. And then Gus Edwards for Baltimore. If they are gonna rest if they're gonna rest Ingram, which is confirmed, Edwards has been good. Even with Mark on the ground. I mean, anytime Gus has had 6 attempts, 5 attempts, 12 attempts, or whatever. I mean, he had 8 attempts against Houston last week and not last week, but on week 11, ran the field. Last week he had 12 attempts, 66 yards. He probably would have had a touchdown if he played the whole game. Against Steelers, man, I love Gus. I really do love Gus. Related to wide receivers, like I said, this is more towards whatever my salary allows, but the guy I really want to focus on is Larry Fitzgerald. Now, this could be me being a Cardinal fan, but these last years and the last games, I've played Larry a lot. Don't know if that's just me being a fan, wanting him to do good, or what it is. But a lot of people forget that Larry has been very consistent this year, at least for cash games. I mean, yes, he has had some stinkers this year, where he gets 2 points here and there, but he's a lock in for over 10 DraftKings points. Most of the time, week 1, 28, week 2, 18, week 3, 14, week 5, 11, week 6, 12, week 10, 15, week 11, 13, week 13, 11, week 16, 14. I mean, his targets have stayed consistent. The last month he's had 7 targets, 5 targets, 7 and 7. I like Larry Fitzgerald, man. $4,500. It's hard to find people that you like that far down the wide receiver pool. Not gonna say he's gonna go for 9 touchdowns or whatnot, but a lot of people are gonna go probably Chris Conley, John Ross. I mean, Christian Kirk, Washington Sims, Renfro, Gage. I think Gage is going to be very popular, and I think Larry is a fantastic pivot off of those guys. Even Brandon Cooks. I think Fitzgerald is going on the wayside. People are just forgetting about him. Paying up, it's probably going to be Devontae Adams and Robinson for Chicago, especially if the Vikings are going to end up sitting starters on the defensive side as well. Robinson has just gone forgotten as well. I've played him a lot this year. He does very well. Obviously, he has some stinkers too, but most of the time he's going to get you over 20 points, and that's what you're going to need to take down a good GPP. I think Parker's a bit too expensive for Miami, but like I said, I do like Ryan Fitzpatrick. Boyd is a bit too chalky. A lot of people are hopping on Boyd. They see how he does, especially after last week. But I'll see how I feel tomorrow when I'm actually making the final lineups. Perryman, $6,700 for Tampa Bay. Really didn't get a huge price increase. I mean, he's $6,700. The only good receiver on that team right now. Last 4 games, 13, 16, 37, and 20 points. My only concern is that Winston will once again just look kind of off. I know he's had a broken thumb, fractured thumb. He just looked off this last game against Houston. He put up 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. Is not good at all. But still, he put up 18 points. If I was to play Perriman, that means I believe in Winston's health, and if the last game of the year for these guys. It's worth taking a shot on Perryman. McLaurin is just a bit too expensive in Washington. Unless you want to stack it with Case Keenum, then that's a cheap stack. I like OBJ a lot, but his targets have been going down. I mean, he's been talking shit left and right about wanting to leave Cleveland and all that type of stuff. OBJ, his targets these last weeks, it's pretty much all been going to Landry. Other than the 13 target game he had against Arizona, he's had 6, 5, and 6. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald is getting more targets than this man. Come on. In the last month. Not gonna lie, man. Wide receiver is going to be tough. I'm gonna focus on what running backs I want and go from there. Hopefully, this gives you, and I mean tight ends. Like I said, Higbee's a trap. Kane Smith, Dallas Goedert, the only 2 tight ends I'm even gonna consider. I'm probably going to play Goddard. No lie. That's who my tight end is most likely gonna be. I think that's about it. I think that put my opinions out there. I like week 16. There's a lot of value that opens up late Saturday, early Sunday when we find out who's not playing, who's going to be out, who's going to be sitting. So just pay attention to that. And guys, best of luck. This will probably be my last DFS video up until the start of NASCAR on this channel. Probably until February. I got about 4 videos coming out though. I'm going to be streaming my cockpit for the IGB 250 on January 5th. I got a Winston documentary coming out, and then I got a video talking about just weird blowovers and flips that I've witnessed in NASCAR and my opinion on those and the safety and all that type of stuff. And I think that's about it. Thank you very much for coming this far. I'm looking forward to being part of DFS Tavern even more, and can't wait for 2020. I hope you guys had a fantastic holiday season. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. Y'all have a great day, and let's go win some money. Let's go win something. Week 17 playing dog shit players. Let's go, guys.